Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is HitokiriSingh, and I know what you guys are thinking. You're looking at this title and you're going, the ultimate god of destruction build? This has to be clickbait. No, it's really not. I'm going to take my time with this, so expect a little bit of a lengthy video because there's lots to go over about how all these skills synergize and are going to create this amazing and fantastic build. So if that's not your cup of tea, then just hop back on to TikTok and do your thing. But for those of you that, well, let me tell you how this process started. This video is probably about a year and a half in the making. Ever since I got my Fatalis gear the first time. I'm a longsword main. I've tried a few other weapons like hunting horn, dual blades, a few other things, the insect glaive, but nothing really gave it to me like the longsword. I love the samurai culture. I love being a samurai in games. As you can see with my build, I love samurai anime, so samurai stuff is just what gets me going. And the longsword is perfect. This game is just one of the best, I don't know, maybe possibly the best game ever, really. I mean, it's, when you're talking about a hack and slash strategy, build, level up type game, this game, Capcom went through so much to put so much together, and it's just beautiful. So I really love this game, and I always wanted to play it. I've almost to Master Rank 999. I'm definitely at Hunter Rank 999, and I'm about 50 or so ranks away from 999, and pretty much all of that has been the longsword. So, you know, I'm pretty good at it, but I am not a flawless player, nor do I ever want to be one. This video, this build is not about speed running. It's not about everybody's doing meta, that's what I have to do. No, this is just my playstyle, tweaking, watching videos. I'm a big fan of Team Darkside and Jinx and Tuna, the Monster Hunter math guys like that are very informative, but I'm not going to bring all the numbers and charts to you in this video. So sit back and check out all the wares that we have for sale here, and by for sale I mean absolutely free, because I just love doing this kind of stuff, guys. I love tweaking, I love messing with games, I love seeing where can I get some extra damage, and I think I've done it. I think I've created a longsword build that you will want to use. Even all you proficient longsword mains, you're going to look at this video. I'm going to go over some things that nobody's talking about and everybody should know, and it's going to make you look at a lot of pieces of armor, or at least one specific piece of armor and skill, completely differently than you ever have before. This is going to be fun, and I'm getting excited just thinking about it because I did some testing and I saw what I saw, and now I understand why I prefer the Frostfang helm and Punishing Draw over any other piece of equipment to go with Fatalis, and we're going to get into all of that here in a little bit. I also want to let you guys know is I am never ever going to do a clickbait title. If I give you an intriguing title, it's because I got something to say. I don't like to do useless videos, useless tier lists, useless breakdowns, or why are people playing Rise and why are people playing Monster Hunter World. I don't care. Play what you like. Play what you have fun with. I don't care if you run meta. I don't care if you wear earplugs and Divine Blessing and Defense Boost all in together because that's what you want to do. Do what you want to do. This build has very little defensive features, and it's not going to be for everybody. It's going to be for when you have the best of the best armor, the best of the best weapons, and your playstyle is gotten to a point where you're digging yourself. So here we go. Let's do it. Alright guys, before we begin, I just want to give you my squad information. I just set up this squad to see if anybody would like to join, basically. It's called Zero Faints, and that's the goal. I just don't like to faint. That's my goal in this game, really. And everything else that's been built on that is just to do it better. And if you'd like to join the squad, that's my online ID. Just shoot me a message, and I'm not really sure. I've never really been in a squad or haven't done a squad, but I just thought it might be fun if you guys want to join one. If if you're not so sure about what you're doing, we can do some hunts together. We can farm Safi Jiva. We can do Fatalis. You know, those kind of things. It'd be fun to get some guys some materials, even if we're not always succeeding in the missions. You know, so that's the information, and really that's about it. I know I'm making some bold promises in my intro, but I feel like I'm going to fulfill all of those promises. And if I do, please leave a like, a share, and what would be really awesome is a subscription. I'm trying to build this channel and get it to the point where I can monetize. So, you know, might have a few little short ads popping up and stuff, but I'm never going to be the type that stops him in the middle of the video and starts shaving my beard and telling you how great my razor is and what brand it is and all that stuff. No, I'm a gamer. I'm here to game. Let's do this stuff. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start off by doing a quick recap of just about every other build that people run and the skills. I won't go into too many details about it, but if you're interested or prefer one of these other builds and you just want some more information, hey, show me which jewels you're using, all that kind of stuff, maybe just comment, and I'll do that kind of stuff. I love doing that kind of stuff, really. So these top 4 are my builds, and let's go over pretty much the rest of the Longsword current meta builds. I'm not going to do anything before Fatalis. I think there's been plenty of information done on the Raging Brachydio set and Frostcraft and all that stuff, which are great playstyles and fun playstyles. They're a bit too repetitive for me, so I like this playstyle because I'm proficient at everything, really, and it's fun for me. And that's the bottom line in gaming at all. You know, if you're not having fun, then you're doing something wrong. So make sure you guys are having fun, okay? So this first build is basically centered around maximum might. I like to call this my Dear Gamer build. This is what he likes to run, except he doesn't do... do I have the coalescence? No, I don't. So it's a very similar build to this, and I get why he wants to do it. Basically, with maximum might, you are never under 100% affinity. Every single hit you're going to do is going to be 100% critical, and you're going to get all your boosts and everything like that. And I respect that. I can see why somebody would want to do that, and yes, I agree. That's awesome. Okay, here we go. Maxed out attack boost. Now, guys, I know you're going to be saying, oh, 4 is fine, 5 is fine. Yeah, of course it's fine. But I'm trying to make myself a non-stop killing machine. I know this build is named that, but it's really not. It's really this one up here. But I'm going all offensive, very little defensive, and not all offensive to the point of I'm doing maximum damage per attack, because what I'm finding is these 3 certain skills have reduced my time on hunts more so than anything else has. And it's not necessarily doing the most attack per hit, it's keeping the monster down on the ground and being able to get free and massive damage all on the head, and it's making these hunts go very quickly. Like I said, I'm not interested in speed running. You'll never see me make a speed running video or anything like that. I mean, if you guys want to join a squad and let's see how fast we can take down these monsters, great, but I'm not sitting there trying to beat records or do anything like that, you know? I just like to have fun with the game. If I'm going to make some errors, I don't care. I'm not looking for flawless runs. I just want to have fun. Okay, so maximum might, maxed out, stun resistance with the helmet. You have all your standard Fatalis perks, your inheritance, transcendence. Everybody knows what this stuff is. If you don't, this is why you want the Fatalis armor. You get all this great health and sharpness and all these wonderful things. So get it and you'll be happy. Your meta, pretty much offense. You got your critical boost, weakness, exploit, recovery up to synergize with the health regen that's going to be in your Fatalis sword. Let me go ahead and show you that right now. This is your VaalHazakSlayer, augmented with affinity increase, health regen, and the elemental status. For obvious reasons, this is one of the few defensive things you're going to run is the health regen, you know what I mean? And that stacks, like I've discussed in a previous video, with your medicine jewels. Where was I? Here we go. Peak performance, evade window 3. I kind of consider this max, even though of course it goes up to 5, but the difference between 3 and 5 is very negligible if you're kind of early on a lot of your iframes. There's a handful of attacks that the monsters have that either have multiple stages or last long enough that evade window 5 would cover, that evade window 3 does, but there's so few of them that I prefer just to run 3. Here's your quick sheath. I know a lot of people have been talking about from my previous video. window. And let me explain that too. That wasn't the greatest build I could make. That was, I just got my Fatalis gear. What's a good build to face any monster? So you have max Divine Blessing. You don't have Quick Sheath. You don't have your higher level evade window, because I can still do my foresight slashes even with just 1 or 2. But of course, the evade window helps. 2 handicraft, that's all you really ever need. You can even drop it to 1 if you're super good at tenderizing a part and like the head, and 99% of your hits are hitting the head. If you're that good, you can even drop that and maybe try something else. And then in my mantle, I got the temporal. The temporal mantle has 2 dragon attacks just for extra damage. That's the mantle I'm going to use to wall bang. And the glider mantle has, what does glider have? Oh, tool specialist and slugger. So this is going to go. Oh, this is a mistake, actually. I messed up. I need to slot out those glider. Probably you just want to do 2 level 2 dragons in those. That's a build for my actual build. So it's a mistake right there for your glider mantle just to have 2 dragon level 4 jewels. Okay, mad skills. This is your Valkana helmet. This is the other most preferred piece of equipment. I run the Frostfang helm. Most other people are going to tell you either do the entire Fatalis set or do the Valkana either helmet or the greaves for the skills that just come with it. So this is the one with the helmet that has coalescence maxed out. So this is for you guys that want to have max coalescence, full attack boost, full critical eye, agitator, all your meta, recovery up, peak performance, evade window 3, quick sheath. This is where tool specialist comes in. I'm going to go over it in a second in my build, but one of the things I can do with my build is cycle through my mantles. I pretty much always have a mantle active, and that is probably the most important thing I've done to shave my monster kill times. Anyways, we'll get to that. Coalescence is maxed out, handicraft 2, resuscitate and dragon, and some slugger. That slugger, those are on the glider mantle, the slugger / maintenance to get you max maintenance when you have your glider mantle on. Power is basically a Valkana Greaves setup. So you're going to have your quick sheath. I know you guys, this is a build for guys that want to have max evade window and max quick sheath. So if those are 2 things that is a must for you, you got your meta offense, you got your stun resistance from your helmet, which is always very handy. I don't have it in my build, so if that's something you gotta have, then you don't probably want to use my build, but we'll go from there. Peak performance, quick sheath, coalescence, handicraft, all the same. And now in all my mantles, I just have dragon slotted in there for some extra attack damage when those things are active, because I don't have my tool specialist in this build, so the mantles just recharge at the times they do, so I just max out defense. This is a build that's very similar to the last one, but this is basically, I wanted to see how much damage I could get out of a helm splitter, So you got all your meta offense, agitator, peak performance, coalescence, and so all 3 have to be active. And also what needs to be active is your mega armor skin, your mega demon drug, your inventory items for your attack and defensive boosts, and your might seeds and demon powder. All of that needs to be active with that, and this is all based on Namielle. So I use Namielle as my standard candle to see to compare things, and it's only 2-star weak to dragon, so these numbers will be higher for monsters like Valkana or monsters like Nergigante that are weaker to dragon. But with that, I was getting a helm splitter with everything active around 250 HP or damage, and so my build, I'm getting around low 200s, so comparable damage, but that's about the max I can get a helm splitter to do on a Namielle. Probably on a Valkana, I believe it's like 270, 275, 280, possibly somewhere in that range. Okay, that's about it for every other build. I'm going to take a quick second and take a break here and get some water because my mouth's getting dry, and I'll be right back and we'll go over the Ultimate God of Destruction build. Alright, without further ado, here we go. The Ultimate God of Destruction build. I'm going to show you these 4 builds. They're basically all 4 the same thing with slight variations depending on your playstyle. We'll go over that so you can decide on which one you want to ultimately use. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of practice footage in the training room to show what I mean about some points I'll be making about sheath attacks. And then I'm going to show a run of this build being used on a Namielle. And I'm going to just narrate that and point out all the skills being used during the fight. So here we go. Of course, I named this build Hiten Mitsurugi. It should have a Ryu at the end of it, but it didn't fit. Anyway, so here's the build. It's all your Fatalis gear, your Frostfang helm, and it's going to be, your waist is going to be the Alpha again. Your mantles are going to be the Temporal and the Glider Challenger Charm. Okay, as far as skills go, you're going to have, well, on all 4 of these, you're going to have Attack Boost, Critical Eye, Agitator, Critical Boost, Weakness, Exploit, Peak Performance, and all of those are going to be max. Handicraft will always be 2, Clutch Claw will always be there. And what's going to change in these builds is Coalescence, Evade Window, and I believe recovery up depending on your playstyle. So these top 2 are what I primarily use depending on which monster I'm fighting. If I'm fighting something that I think I want the evade window 5, this is what I do. Now the way the jewels are set up, because certain jewel combinations just don't exist, if you're going to do evade window 5, you're going to lose all your recovery up, which I don't mind in certain fights and I don't mind in general, but if I can have recovery up, I prefer. That's why I generally go with the evade window 3 in this setup, whereas in this setup it has evade window 5, no recovery up, but everything else is pretty much the same. 1 coalescence, and this one of course has maxed coalescence, so that's got your meta damage, so this is my preferred one. 1 coalescence is all I really require in this one. You get your 12 attack instead of your 18, but in order to get quick sheath and evade window and a few of these other skills to get where you want it to be, you're going to lose out on some coalescence, because just again certain jewel combinations just don't exist, so it has to be done this way. Ultimate Warrior is all of this stuff that we mentioned before. What did I change here? Oh, this is if you want max evade window, max quick sheath, but it does not have the tool specialist, so it does give you, you know, your evade window, recovery up, and quick sheath maxed all 3, and you have 2 coalescence instead of all 3, so that's the downside of this build. Non-stop killing is basically for if you want to have you're going to drop a couple of attacks, but now you're going to have peak performance max, evade window 3, which I consider max, quick sheath 3, tool specialist, coalescence max as well. So this is so you can get max coalescence, the tool specialist, the quick sheath, evade window, all as practically max as you can as well. Yeah, that's about it. Actually, I don't think that's too different than... Is it the same build? Did I just duplicate it? No, it's slightly different. Oh, yeah, okay. So this is a mistake as well, because the mantle is... Oh, I switched this mantle with the other one. That's what it was. Don't even worry about non-stop killing. It's just these top 3. Okay, so these are the top 3. So now why are all these skills important? Why do I call this the Ultimate God build? Well, the 3 things I was talking about before that was drastically reducing my monster times. Now remember, I'm not trying to reduce my times. You know, I'm just playing. I'm getting good at the game. I'm doing all these... threat level 3 tempered elder dragons to get my ultimate jewels, you know, and you know I'm pretty consistent about killing these monsters in about 18 to 20 minutes, and then with my defensive setup from the previous video, and then I start tweaking some things and messing with some things, and all of a sudden I see, oh, I did this and I shaved a couple minutes off my time on average. I did this, and let's just name all 3 of them. Okay, the number 1 most important thing is having tool specialist maxed out when I'm wearing my glider mantle. I'm going to go into more detail about this, but that was the single most important thing I did to reduce my monster kill times. The second most important thing I did was Frostfang helm. There's an attribute about Frostfang helm that nobody is paying attention to. I did the math, I did the training room session. I'm going to show it to you. Just be patient, and here it's coming in a second. Number 3 is Shaver, Clutch Call, Boost. Always always use Shaver on a solo run. If you're with a team, as long as somebody is a heavy weapon user that's actually gonna soften, you're fine. But if you're not confident of that, bring it. Just because if you're gonna have to do one extra shave or weaken, and you get thrown off or something happens or stunned or whatever, you're gonna lose so much time, and it's just gonna take a significant more amount of time. So those are the 3 things I wanted to put in every build and my meta offense. Okay, so attack boost, we've already explained why all of this stuff is maxed out. And here we go, punishing draw. All right, so we talked about Shaver, why that does reduce the times. And so let's talk about punishing. No, let's actually wait on this. I want to show you that in the training room. Let's talk about the tool specialist. Yes. So why do we want to run tool specialists like this? It all has to do with the times that your glider and your temporal mantle take to recharge. So the temporal mantle can be used for 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes, but it takes 300 seconds to recharge. That's what, 6 minutes? 6 minutes to recharge. Now, when Tool Specialist is fully maxed out all 5 levels, it reduces that by 50%. So that makes that 3 minutes, okay? So now all of a sudden your temporal mantle, when I'm wearing my glider mantle, because I only have 3 Tool Specialists in my build, the other 2 are in the glider. So when I'm wearing that, I get a 50% reduction on that 300 seconds, making it 3 minutes, right? Now here's the beautiful thing about it. Look at the glider mantle. How long does a glider mantle last? Exactly 3 minutes. Exactly 3 minutes. So if you have the glider mantle on, just wear it for its duration. As soon as it's done, your temporal mantle's ready to go right then and there. Boom, immediately. You can always use glider immediately after. You can go into temporal. Now you want to time this so you're using your glider when the monster's enraged, so you go for the mount, and you're using the temporal to go for the wall bang when they're not enraged, or even if they are enraged and you happen to have the glider mantle temporal available, use it and start doing helm splitters and iframes and your biggest baddest thing, and do not worry about using up your mantle. All you want to do with your temporal mantle is just make sure it lasts about a minute and 20 seconds, so 80 seconds, because your glider mantle recharge time is 120 seconds. That's 2 minutes, right? So with level 3 that's in my base, because I'm not going to have maxed out with the temporal mantle is on or when the glider mantle is off. I'm only going to have level 3, but that's still, well, let's show it to you. That's still, come on, let's show the skills. Where is the tool specialist? All right, level 3 by 30%. So 30%, that's going to be, yeah, like 1 minute and 20 seconds. So as long as you're wearing your temporal mantle for 1 minute and 20 seconds, which is easy to do because if you time it right, you space it right, you wall bang them, you do some other stuff, you get them on the ground, by the time you're done with that sequence of attacks, you've already eclipsed that time. But now you have plenty more time that the temporal mantle is still active. Sometimes you can get those double wall bangs when they don't get enraged right away, so you can end up having that. But basically what that creates is the entire fight you have a mantle active, and there's so many awesome things you can do with your mantles that you're not even thinking about, and we'll go into more of that in a second too. So always having active mantles, and let's say worst case scenario, you use your glider mantle and something happens and your temporal mantle runs out immediately. Well, it's only going to be about, by the time your glider mantle's ready to go again, like a minute 20 seconds, so if it's going to be that length of time, then you're basically at the very worst case scenario 75% of the times you have a mantle on. Best case scenario, damn near 100%. You know how many tool specialists I get at the end of missions? Good God. Anyways, okay, so that's the mantle. That's the synergy of why that reduces the time. I've already talked about Shaver. Here's the biggest thing, guys. Everybody needs to know this. Nobody's talking about this. I've searched all these videos. Everybody's telling me to use Valkana Helm. Everybody's telling me to use Valkana Greaves, maybe even Kolv Greaves. Everybody's saying Frostfang Helm is a waste of space, is a waste of time. And I'm like, okay, but what's happening for me is, as the hunts that I'm using Frostfang Helm are the fastest ones I'm having, especially when I started conjuncturing them with the mantles and the shaver jewel. Now all of a sudden I'm taking out these Namielle on a good run where I don't mess up too much, 6 to 8 minutes tops. 6 to 8 minutes, where I was happy with my Divine Blessings setup in 15-20 minutes, and I wasn't trying to do this. And I'm like, okay, so why is everybody telling me to use all this other equipment, but I'm getting the best results in this? It's because of this factor. I'm going to pause it right here and switch over to the training room so we can talk about this, and then we'll get to the action and I'll show it to you in a video. And here we go. All right, so I'm going to use the build that doesn't have the recovery up and has the max evade window and the quick sheath. It really doesn't matter as far as damage numbers go, but this is all about punishing draw, and I want to show everybody why this is being slept on and why this is the very best setup to wear with Fatalis gear for longsword users. And it's this Frostfang, where is it? Frostfang Absolute Art. It adds a stun effect to draw attacks and slightly increase attack power. Okay, what does that mean effectively? Well, now the katana is not a stun weapon. It has 0 attacks that inflict stun. What is stun? There's 2 ways to topple over a monster. One, let's say you soften their head, and you're just doing enough damage to meet a threshold to cause a knockdown. I forgot exactly which one is which. One is called a knockout, one is called a knockdown. I believe when you just inflict enough damage to cause a knockdown, the monster topples over. And the other way to do a very similar thing with the same animation is called a knockdown, and that's when you have a weapon with stun effect, hits them enough, passes the threshold, and it knocks down. And the difference is, you can see with the stun, you'll see a little dizzying stars above the monster. It's happens with the stun effect. Now these things can work in conjuncture. You can build up knockout and knockdown damage at the same time. And this is very, very, very important. Doing both. Why is this important? Now everybody's going to tell you the point of a hunt. During a hunt, you want to knock that monster down a good 2 times with damage, to the head and stun to get them on the ground, to have decent times and make pretty quick work of these monsters. So they're saying if you're doing 1, you're doing okay. If you're not doing any, you need to redo your build. If you're doing 2, that's where you want to be. Now here's the thing with my build, I always get bare minimum 3. Overwhelmingly, I get 4 knockdowns, and not too disoftenly or unoftenly, or whatever the word that exists is, I can get 5. And what's happening is, because I'm now inflicting stun and damage to the head the way my playstyle is, I'm causing knockdowns and knockouts. Okay, so why aren't other people talking about it? Why aren't other people doing this? Well, here's the common knowledge of the stun that comes with punishing draw. When you do a draw attack, it does a base 20 stun damage. And if you know anything about stun damage, this isn't raw damage like the damage you actually do, like that numbers that are showing up on the screen. This is the stun modifier that's kind of like, your status effects in Elden Ring. They have a certain build-up factor, and once it passes that factor, you're going to get a stun knockdown, So now keep this in mind. Katana with any other build does not have any single attack that does stun, okay? So now you put your Frostfang Helm on. Now you have attacks that do 20 stun when they come from a draw from that, okay? So you have, 2 attacks? I believe that's... Yeah, just those 2. Yeah, of course. Duh. Okay. But that's not all. Draw attacks are attacks that come when your weapon is sheathed. So this is a draw attack. Boom. Now that has 20 stun. Okay. Any other attacks you can do from sheath? Yes. The first one of your spirit gauge combo. Now that's another attack that inflicts 20 stun. Okay. So now all of a sudden you went from a weapon that has no stun to one attack having stun. This attack, hey, has 2 stun. I've tested it. I'll talk about it in a second. That has 2 stun. This attack has stun. Okay. And now this attack has stun, but that's not all. That's not all. You have the very best attack of all that now has stun on. Actually, I need to charge up my weapon. The aerial attack from the katana, the multiple hit version of it, has to have at least some white meter built up, you know? Let me just go ahead and build up a little bit more. Now this aerial attack is super important. You see guys using this with their longswords on, you know, like Fatalis speed runs. They'll do that thing where they hop off a cliff, so they're falling down, then they do their attack. The attack causes them to kind of raise back up onto the cliff, and then they hop off again. I'll show you to you. So this is the aerial attack. It's actually 3 hits, guys. 3 hits. Now that is a sheathed attack. That is a draw attack because my weapon is currently drawn. So when I jump, I don't want to say that's 3 hits that do stun. I'll tell you why. Okay, this I know for sure is 2 hits, both do stun. How do I know that? Okay, it does state on the punishing draw effect that it adds a very small attack boost. So I wanted to find out what that was. So I wore a set of armor that had no Frostfang helm, and then I did this. And so first I started off with just this standard sheathed triangle attack. And now your weapon does different amounts of damage depends on where your weapon hits the monster. So for a longsword, that area by the sword from, I'd say about like what would be about 6 inches from the tip to about 1/3 of the way down of the blade, that top portion of the sword does the most damage. So if you can kind of get your sword, see that did 174 because I hit it there, but let's say I hit it here, 130. See, so it does depend on affect the damage you're going to be doing. So it's hard for me to gauge what is the attack difference. Okay, the attack difference is minimal, very minimal. So basically I did this over and over and over again, and I went the maximum number I could finally eventually get. So I hit that pole in a bunch of different angles, and I would get the maximum number I could get with my gauge all the way full to 3 and all my other things being equal. And then I did it with the Frostfang helm. And I notice that the damage is very minimal. It's like 2 to 5, depending on the attack. The bigger, heavier attacks do, like the big sheathed R2, that does the 5, whereas the other just increase your attack by 2. But what this tells me is, I noticed that when I did this, I was getting that additional 2 max that I wasn't getting without the Frostfang helm on both hits. So that confirmed both of those hits are stun. Okay, now for the aerial attack, I've confirmed the first hit is stun. I can't confirm the second hit is stun because it happens so fast, it's hard for me to get that second number. I can confirm the third hit is stun because I've seen a 2 max damage difference on that. So I'm assuming that second hit is going to stun. So now that means you have 3 aerial attacks that cause stun, and those 3 aerial attacks that cause stun are among the strongest attacks that a longsword user can do. So in these are the situations when you use your grappling hook with a glider mantle to jump off and do your aerial R2 move. That is what's being accomplished. You're now getting slightly more damage, but 3 stun. Now here's this: you're not getting 3 stun. You're not getting you're getting 3 stun, but you're not getting 20. 20 is just what the Frostfang helm adds to any hits that now include stun. You're getting 30 to 39. Why? Because I always eat Feline Slugger attack boost large. That gives you a I think the general consensus from what I've been hearing is about base 10 increase to your stun modifier. So now you have 30 per hit, not 20. But that's not all. We're also running 2 slugger in our mantle. That 2 slugger increases 30%. So every stun value for every attack is now 39 when I'm wearing this mantle. And like we discussed before, if you're switching out your mantles correctly, you're going to be wearing this mantle 75% of the time and the other one only 25% of the time. And you're going to be without a mantle hardly ever. 75% of the time you're getting to 39. Let's just round that up to 40 instead of, because I'm going to show you some combos you can do with that to maximize your stun usage. So let's say you're getting 40 per hit with the mantle and you're getting 30 without. So now what you can do, all right, you want to have your feature set to auto sheath. I know a lot of people don't like auto sheath, but this longsword users with this build or any build that has a punishing draw, you want to do it. So it's somewhere here. Anyways, I don't want to waste time with it. It's somewhere in your options. Turn on auto sheath. When you turn on auto sheath, what happens is once you attack, you can just start running and you'll automatically sheath. So attack, start running, sheath. So now when you're in the sheath, now you're doing this combo. All 3 hits now give you stun. All 3 hits give you stun. So what people are talking about 20 stun damage increase, that's nothing. That's not 20. That's 120. 120 is significant. 120 is huge. 120 gets you 5 freaking knockdowns, people. Now, that's not all. That's not what I'm doing on these monsters. Okay, whenever I need to charge my blade and I get a chance to do my full spirit roundhouse, I do to get the charge. Once I'm maxed in charge, and I always do that from sheath as well. Remember, that first hit gives you that stun too. That's 40 right there. So this is my general thing when I want to inflict stun damage. I just cycle this. Now that second overhead did not give me stun. But this hit gets me stun from the sheath. That's 3. This one does not. These 2 do. You see what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3. No. 1, 2. 5 out of 6 attacks on this fast-ass punish. You can do this on a lot of monsters quickly. This is not a overly aggressive maneuver. You pop this on their head. Are you guys understanding this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 40. 200 stun damage with a katana in the matter of 2 seconds? Does anybody realize this is happening with Punishing Draw? Am I the only one? Try it. Try this. This is going to be a game changer for you longsword mains. You don't realize how powerful this is going to make you. Well, you will realize as you finish this video, because coming up next, I'm going to show you how to use all of these skills in conjuncture. They all synergize with each other. If you don't get why, please understand why critical eye, critical boost, weakness, exploit, that's how you get 140% increase in damage by doing those things to get your affinity to 100%. And with this build, it's like 95%, but it can often be over 100 because there's so many things, whether it's affinity boosters, whether it's your palico, whether it's having a hunting horn main with you, to have things that get you way over 100% affinity. So 95 on paper is 100 in the field. You know, so that's going to all synergize. The attack is just there because I want to kill as fast as possible. I want these monsters to die miserable deaths at my hand, and I enjoy that kind of stuff in virtual reality, of course. I'm a harmless person. I was raised by a Buddhist. I'm not very fond of violence at all. But in Monster Hunter, I'm here to slaughter these monsters. That's what I'm here to do. That's how I collect my paycheck, and that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, so your peak performance, of course, that gives you that attack boost when your health is full, mixes with your recovery up. If I had that in the build, I don't. The evade window and quick sheath basically make you immortal. Ultra instinct, if you know what you're doing, just try to time yourself. You want to be a little early on your iframes, except for one instance where you want to be a little late. I'll try to show that to you in the fight. But that basically is Ultra Instinct. I got some regen on my weapon anyways, and I always have in my items, this is important, guys, always have, you know, your max potions, your ancient potions, your materials to make. You literally can have materials for just these 2 potions. You can probably stack enough materials to make a combined total of about 15 of both of those. You don't ever need to run mega potions if you don't want to. You don't ever need to have honey and the other thing. Just have all the materials to craft these things. I forgot exactly what they are, but you know, look it up, put those materials in, and that's, and of course you guys got to be having your charms. I'm assuming everybody knows about this. I'm not even going to bother with that. But anyways, okay, let's get into a showcase of all these skills put together, and here we go. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and specifically the women gamers. I know I've been saying guys all the time in all my videos, but you definitely need to be acknowledged. You're out there, and you suffer a lot of abuse from a lot of these little boys out there. So sorry about that, but I just wanted to give you some acknowledgement. I'm going to start this hunt with a mount just to show that you can immediately mount the monster if you get all 3 hits from your increased mounting ability from the Raider mount. Typically I like to do the flint shot, sometimes the second flint shot, and then do the mount when they first get enraged. It's just a nice little domination tactic to make sure the first few minutes of the fight go completely your way. But anyways, get them down and go ahead and charge. Sometimes I'm still in the red. I like to charge my longsword up with some endemic life before I start a fight, but I never go for the helm splitter right away. If you get too much damage, then for sure he's going to get enraged. So I want to do just enough damage to get some some good damage out of the situation, but try to get that second flint shot right away too. But because the first one was a mount, actually, this flint shot is pretty much guaranteed. He's not going to be enraged as long as you don't do like a helm splitter. Missed that flint shot, but that's okay. Go ahead and do it again. I had a few runs that were really good looking and almost flawless, but I didn't want to show those. I wanted to show some where made a few mistakes, but also I wanted to show a variety of things with this build. So getting them down. Now both of these knockdowns I'm going for headshots as much as humanly possible, and then in my general fight I'm trying to face them down and get as many headshots as possible to wear down, to get those knockout and knockdown damages. I think earlier I was calling them the wrong way, but the one that slugger affects, the stun damage, is the knockout, and just getting enough damage on the head is the knockdown. That doesn't require any stun modifier. Anyways, as we go along with this fight, I'm going to go ahead and switch mantles because my temporal mantle just wore out, and playing a little sloppy here, but I'll tighten that up here in a second. And the beautiful thing about this build is there's never a moment you have to be too defensive. When you're getting low on health, yeah, go ahead and pop a max potion or ancient potion. Ancient potions you just kind of save for when your stamina is getting really low, and instead of trying to, like right now I'm afflicted, so instead of trying to take a nullberry, if I wanted to I would just take an ancient potion, but usually on the attack I just kind of focus on attacking. As long as I'm in range and I know I can take a hit and not die, I'm focused on trying to attack the head constantly. And I'm going to count down how many total knockdowns we get. So far we've gotten 1 from the mount, 1 from the flint shot, and there's going to be a couple coming up right here. Oh shit. Oh, never mind. I thought I missed it. Also, I'm doing as many jump attacks into the R2 multiple hit things, all that stun damage I was telling you about, and it's just one of his largest damaging moves. That's why those speedrunners do it on Fatalis, because it just does huge damage compared to other things. Look at all these headshots that are happening. They're not all headshots, but I'm just in the general vicinity And I'm getting head damage almost on way more hits than I'm not, basically. Go ahead and take this opportunity to get a few more, and all these aerial hits are building up for the next mount as well, and that too. Once you land, you're already immediately in... no, there goes the first... that's the stun. See the stars above his head? So that's the stun element that you would not have gotten if you don't have the Frostfang helm. But anyways, my point was on the aerial attack, and here comes the knockdown immediately after. See, I was concurrently building up both of them. See, he has no stars on his head this time, so that's the knockdown. That's just damage related, and the previous was the stun related. So now I have 4 knockdowns already: mount, flint shot, stun, knockout, and knockdown. But back to that point, when you do the aerial attack like this, and then keep hitting R2, you immediately go into like the second or third hit of the spirit gauge combo. So it's a kind of faster way to get your gauge if you can't get a foresight slash. And because you can latch onto any part of their body, you can get a safe distance away or get to a safe side that he can't attack you, and then go ahead and go for it safely. You can jump on their tail, then jump on their wings. So all these mantles are doing amazing things. I also wanted to note the previous move I did right before this helm splitter, the R2 out of the sheath. That's the only no, sorry, not the, it's the triangle one. This one, right? No, not this one. Yeah, that one. I'll show you. Out of the quick special sheath, the triangle move. That's the only move that has iframes that you want to be a little bit on the later side or kind of time, so you make sure you interrupt the hit right with that first swing. So it's got a little bit more of a leeway for being precise on that, but because I'm not particularly using it for a purpose of doing huge damage, I'm just kind of building up stun damage. As long as you land that anywhere close to him, you're fine. Go ahead and heal back up as he runs away. Now, there have been a couple times in the fight that I was slightly defensive. I just had to get away to heal once. I am going to... Well, I'm not going to faint because I have my health booster on my Palico, but this Rajang is going to come out of nowhere and get me. You'll see. There goes the second mount. Okay, so that one came off the rider mount. I don't know if you guys watched the previous one of my videos, and I'll link those in the comments. How to get good at Monster Hunter Monster Hunter World Iceborne. If you do an aerial attack off your rider mount, you get a multiplier for the hits that you need to do to actually get a successful mount. So that's mount number 2. Overall knockdown number 5. And let's get some sweet damage. Oh, that's good damage. All to the head, building up stun, building up knockdown. I mean, that's what my fights are, guys. I'm not super great at this game. I mean, I'm pretty good, don't get me wrong, but I'm not flawless. I'm just using all these ways to constantly knock them down. Even if the best attack I can do is just jumping up and softening them with my triangle attack. Boom, there goes another flint shot. So that's 2 each of the flint shots and the mounts, and 2 of the other total of the other. So that's what, 6 knockdown. I don't even know how long have I been fighting. 7-ish minutes with mistakes. 1 sort of close heal, nothing super emergency, nothing that I kind of lucked out on and got some sweet RNGesus factors, but it's all just cycling the mantles again. Other one's done, cycle through this one. Got my additional stun damage, got my tool maintenance, so I'm building up my temporal mantle to come back quicker as well. What's going on here? Oh, this is just aerial stuff. I want to go for not necessarily another mount, but those stun hits and those damages on the head, especially when you have a monster that kind of rears his head up and it's kind of hard, like a Devilio or Fatalis or something, and it's hard to get head hits on them. You can latch onto their head, hit X to jump off, do the 3-hit aerial attack, and get big damage and big stun damage. And you know, for Fatalis you should be running Parts Breaker. Get huge part break damage too. So all this stuff is important, and it builds up mounts. And I'm getting the knockout, and I'm getting the tool maintenance. See, this one mantle, the way it's being used and the way it's being set up, is doing so many wonderful things to me. And in conjunction with everything else I got going on, all these attacks, all this damage is also healing me constantly. This is why I'm barely having to heal. If I have enough health to tank a hit, I'm not concerned about healing myself back up to max. Let me find a safe spot on my monster and I'll heal while I damage you. More aerial stuff. I mean, I approach at angles that are safe, so I don't have to worry about, you know, big interrupting attacks that are going to be damaging to me, or I get hugely punished by them. You know, and when I do get hit, it's just like, okay, look, now my health is super low. I see my palico coming to me. I don't even bother healing. I'm like, okay, that's enough health for me to tank at least one hit. And now I get hit again. So now, oh no, this is, yeah, the Rajang comes. I'm stunned, but I did enough damage that the Namielle actually flew away, and this guy sneaks up on me and just blindsides me. But it's alright. It happens. Rajang is one of the monsters that I do want to use the build that has the 5 evade with. Rajang, the Devilio, let's see what Fatalis maybe. Well, I wouldn't use this setup on Fatalis. Anyways, the monster's dead. I mean, the Rajang came when he was going back to sleep. So, sharpen, buff. I hope you guys noticed when I buffed. I went through this in that other video too, how to get good in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and like I said, I'll link that up, and that just goes over a lot of these quicker points that I'm going over, including there's another video that has the previous best setups I was talking about with Divine Blessing, and that goes over a lot of the skills that I kind of glanced over this time, like your recovery up and your attack bonuses and all that stuff that I assumed everyone got by now. So both of those links will be in the comments. Always wake up like this. Use your bombs, wall bang them into the bomb. So what's that now? 2 mounts, 3 flinch shots, a knockdown, and a knockout. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 knockdowns have occurred. And the rest of them, you know, just using my tool set, using my iframes when they're appropriate, getting my helm splitters. I don't like to just do random helm splitters. If I can, I will wait until they're knocked out, or I will use my meter being full to get really big damages, especially off that aerial stuff I was telling you about from the mantle. So I like to do that. I don't just immediately like to go for the helm splitters. I like to go for ones that, some moves I know from all sorts of monsters, so I know if I get it at this angle, by the time he turns around, I'm going to land right on their head. But I generally try to get them right on the head, so a lot of that I save for the knockdowns, but not always. Boom, there goes another one. What's this? Stun? Nope, this is knock down. No stars, so I just inflicted enough damage, and that's number 8. 8 different knockdowns you're seeing in this fight. Barely have I been in any kind of threat, and this thing has been running for its life for the majority of this fight. Even when he's hurting me, I'm not staying back very often. I'm not staying down very often. I'm coming at you. I'm aggressive. Oh, there goes the stun. See? There we go again. So 2 stuns, 2 weapon knockdowns, 2... and he's dead. Wonderful. That's beautiful. That's my point. This is exactly what I mean, people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 knockdowns. The monster's down. This is the ultimate god build. If you appreciated this, if you learned something, this is for you. Give me that like. Give me that subscription. All the stuff I ever show you is going to be good. Good gameplay. Good information. Just watch.